and they will just make it all cringe even more. But this one reality TV show that comes to mind is Married at First Sight, and this show, man, I cannot express how bad that is. Seen clips of it, and that has just been going on for a long time, and it is very weird how that.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the James Rambling Show, coming at you live on Friday night. Tonight's your host, James Bay.
Hello, welcome back to the James Rambling Show. I'm going to talk about TV, because I talked about movies, so why not talk about TV shows? So, game shows, let's start off with game shows, right? Game shows, so with these types of shows, they have the people that come onto the show, and then they do a question, or they answer something to get a prize. And the first one that comes to my mind, because I've been in the UK, because it is a very British show, it's called The Chase. Now that show is very, 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 very popular in the UK. It's probably one of the most popular shows I've seen. So many seasons, so many episodes. It's really a very, 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 very popular show. And there's another set of game shows. There's like so many game shows out there. It's insane. So yeah, pretty much it. And then like I have seen so many cartoons. Like the amount of I'm not saying I've seen every cartoon, but I've seen quite a lot of cartoons. Most Family Guy, Adventure Time, Ben 10, stuff like that. But I will say that I never really watched a lot of Family Guy, because I think I was too young to understand it and everything, so I never really watched Family Guy. And there's also South Park. South Park is this one show, it's a very funny show, and it's being offensive, and that it's sort of just like an offensive show altogether, so just making fun of things and stuff. Like, I remember this one episode of South Park where basically making fun of gays and stuff, so it is definitely an offensive show. It's a pretty decent show. Now, if we're going to go away from cartoons and these fictional type of TV shows, I have to say that the reality TV shows are just, like some reality TV shows are quite weird, and the recently we've had some weird reality TV shows, and TikTokers are trying to jump into that as well, and then that's just going to ruin that reputation, right? Because these TikTokers, like Addison Rae, they will intercept and they will just make it all cringe even more. But this one reality TV show that comes to mind is Married at First Sight, and this show, man, I cannot express how bad that is. Seen clips of it, and that has just been going on for a long time, and it is very weird how this show has been going on for so long, but people are just engaged by it and everything. So it's just kind of insane. The whole entire show is pretty insane, pretty dramatic, and soap operas are the same thing. Pretty insane, pretty dramatic, because they'll have the plot and then everything like that. But honestly, man, like, see, with Married at First Sight, this whole experiment idea, it's a very weird one. It is these types of shows are very weird, and yeah, just soap operas and reality TV, it's not really my thing. And there's also, of course, we have the late night shows as well, with all of those people, they just talk with these celebrities and stuff. TV has definitely evolved a lot. Well, we used to go from black and white to some random dramatic TV shows, and then just something else, and just a lot. There's just a lot of TV shows out there, but outside of TV shows and stuff like that, but it's sort of similar to like it being on TV, there's also documentaries about animals and stuff like that, and they are very interesting. I think those types of shows, those series are pretty interesting. You're seeing animals, you're seeing it evolve, you're seeing it go from one place to the other, and then there's a person documenting it. Over here we have the animal, or whatever, like David Attenborough would do. David Attenborough has been doing that for a very long time. He's a pretty interesting guy. He just basically narrates these animal documentaries, and they have been on TV for a while. Just a lot of things have been on TV for a very long time, So, transcending from dramatic documentaries and cartoons and stuff, we've also got true crime. Now, this is, I guess, could be dramatic as well, but true crime is a thing where it is. I guess it could be hard to watch if you don't really like that sort of thing, because there is a lot of true crime that is very crazy. You have these crazy serial killers like Jeffrey Dahmer and all like that, and there's so many serial killers that I could think of right now, but there is a lot of things on this subject. So, and it seems that a lot of girls really like true crime, which is an interesting one. It seems to appeal to them, and there's been so many YouTubers who've covered true crime and that sort of side of TV and pop culture, I guess you could say. So, there's not really been any true crime that I've watched. I don't remember a time when I've even watched true crime. I mean, I have probably seen some insane ghost story videos or whatever back in the day, but never ever really watched true crime. And speaking of like girls and all that, because girls seem to really like it, my sister is absolutely obsessed with true crime, and she has watched so many of those, and she watches these YouTubers that cover it, and it's a very, very big thing amongst females. It definitely is clear that there is a big thing for females and the female demographic, and the demographics with TV shows go very, very far, because you have the kids shows, and you have the adult shows, and then you have 13, 15 and stuff like that. Like Dora the Explorer, for example, we have like the kids who watch Dora the Explorer. I remember actually watching Dora the Explorer, like that show. I used to be obsessed with that. Like, and then there's actually a live action of Dora as well, which is kind of interesting. Like, there's so many Disney live actions, but let's not just talk about Disney again, because I already did that. But yeah, oh yeah, wait, Dora is not Disney. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, there's a lot of demographics out there for these types of shows, and you can really just tell that like these shows are made for these certain types of people and how they would be interested in watching that. But here's the thing though, because there has been times when somebody watches something completely outside of their age gap, right? Because there's probably still some people who've been in their 20s and they've went back to watching something they watched as a kid, like that sort of thing. So yeah, there's a lot of demographics out there. And like, speaking of that, right, I was like 12, I think, and then I watched this Daredevil show. Yeah, I'm talking about TV and violent TV shows. If we're talking about violent TV shows, we got Daredevil. Like, Daredevil is this Marvel series, and it is very deep, and there's a lot that goes on in that show. But that show was absolutely amazing. Like, I remember watching Daredevil. Like, that is an awesome TV show. The origin story is epic. You're seeing another side to someone, and yeah, just Daredevil. Yeah, and I have watched violent shows a lot. I remember watching so many violent shows, but my parents have tried to be very, very careful, because I don't want to be watching a violent show when I'm 5 years old, right? No one wants that. Nobody wants to watch a violent show when they're like 5 years old. And then you have the whole thing about watching or playing games at 5 years old, playing GTA at 5 years old, and that sort of thing. I don't think we should be doing that though. Like, can we just like have that time where we're gonna watch that show and then we'll be ready to understand it? Because if I'm not gonna understand the show, why would I watch it, right? Because there's times, I do say, why would I watch a show if I can't understand it? But I have actually watched foreign TV shows before. And I remember like being very into Squid Game, that TV show. I was absolutely obsessed with Squid Game, and that was like 7 months ago now. Have I watched it since? No. I've only watched Squid Game probably like twice now. Like, Squid Game, yeah, that show is very, very depressing, and I don't think kids should be watching that, especially because there is a lot of strong messaging in that a kid wouldn't actually cling on to, and it's not very happy, because the analogy is it's got these happy things going on, the pink colours, the brightness, but then when you go into it, it's literally a slaughterhouse basically, because people die for money. Yeah, pretty much the opposite of a game show, right? Of the stereotypical cliche game show where you would be winning and being happy, because at the end of Squid Game, and I guess I don't really need to give a spoiler exclamation here or whatever, spoiler warning, sorry, because Squid Game's been out for 7 months, whatever, but at the end of Squid Game, basically, the guy who wins the thing, he's not actually happy because he realised how much death happened there. So, I mean, to be honest, I'd feel the same, and I think I said this a while back sometime, but I think I would feel the same as that guy at Squid Game, and I forgot his name. It's been ages since I watched Squid Game. I have to be honest about that. Just Squid Game and just violent TV shows and violence and stuff, that sort of side of TV, yeah, that's the sort of stuff I would probably have watched more than like true crime with all the crazy people and that. So yeah, I guess we can wrap up today's episode. So many tangents, man. Like, there has been so many tangents during this episode, and you know, it's gonna be annoying if there's no guests on this week, for some people especially, because you know, I've been doing this for a bit, and I've been enjoying doing this podcast, but at the same time, it's kind of annoying when I hear my voice a lot. Like, there's a lot of episodes where it's just me, and I've probably said this before, but there has been so many episodes where it's just about me, and it's just me talking. So yeah, but it is good that with this podcast and thing, I've been able to try and stop just being like, guys, the podcast is here, and this is what we're going to talk about, and this is the future of the podcast, because I remember doing all of that. So yes, I definitely did ramble a lot, and a lot of tangents, and I just think it's just something that I've just been really decent at. I think I've just when it comes to this show, I've just been on so many tangents. So yeah, but I hope you actually enjoyed this episode, because this is a different-ish episode, I guess, because I have tried different things on this podcast, if you couldn't already tell, with how I actually went. I jumped from COVID to talking to my Scottish mates, and then I just went to something else. Yeah, I've just been trying a lot of things with this podcast, so stay tuned next week for more episodes. And yeah, there we will see how this podcast goes for the future. We will see how it goes from now till in a year or so. There's still a lot that I can cover on this podcast. So yeah, goodbye.